Welcome on in. I just got home from the IMAX. It's kind of late, so I can't be too loud, but let's talk about Godzilla Kong, the New Empire.
Kong can't stop this on his own.
He won't be alone.
Welcome to my world.
That is right. We are back in the MonsterVerse. A couple years after the sequel, of Godzilla vs Kong, we get Godzilla Kong, the New Empire. And out of theater thoughts were pretty simple. Monster fighting was pretty good. Everything else involving humans and just the plot line was pretty garbage overall. Now, that's not uncommon for these movies. I think the biggest criticism of all the Godzilla Kong movies that we've had recently are the monster stuff kind of decent. The human storylines and dialogue and everything to do with it absolutely horrible. And I have to say, my theater seemed pretty happy with this movie. There was applause afterwards. There's people who were waiting to see a post-credit scene, which there is not any. So if you plan to go out to see this weekend, just know no post-credit scene. But you can definitely admire the score. I think listening to score and music at the end of a movie is always a very enjoyable thing that anybody can really get out of just watching the credits. And so many people visually with the visual effects had to work on this movie that they really deserve all the praise and all your attentions as credits end, because the world of Hollow Earth and these titans is definitely super impressive and some of the best stuff with this movie. I think the Kong side of it is definitely what you're going to get the most of. If you're a Godzilla fan, don't be misled a little bit. Yes, Godzilla is the first billing name in this title because Godzilla has earned that right over Kong or just about anybody, but he is very much a minor supported character that is very much not in most of this movie. This movie centers around Kong and what is going on in Hollow Earth or what he discovers in Hollow Earth. And when you go see Kong's facial emotions, when you really get Kong being nonverbal with the monsters of the Hollow Earth, movie is operating at its best. The issue is that does not happen near enough, and the screenwriting of this movie wants to treat you, the audience, as a complete bimbo idiot that doesn't know what's going on. What I mean by that is they have human characters, Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, and I forget the third gentleman, but he was probably the funniest out of all of them. Um, are on the adventure in Hollow Earth, kind of explaining and trying to figure out what's going on. And the lines are so stupid. The dialogue is so bad. You see things take place, and you're like, oh, I know what's happening. And they cut to the humans being like, I need to tell you exactly what you just saw, because heaven forbid you may not know the exact thing you just saw. Like, it got to a point to where I was like, are we really doing this? Like, are these actual lines that these scriptwriters made and put into a film? Did this dialogue, did this human story even need to take place? Not really as much. The one character who was in Godzilla vs. Kong, the young girl who was the last of her tribe on Skull Island, she plays an okay part here per se, but even then, it feels way overforced. And I just wish this movie, even if it had no human words at all, and we got subtitles in different places. And I don't think the subtitles are needed because I think the scenes where Kong is meeting with, spoiler for the trailers, other ape-like creatures in Hollow Earth, and even talking with Godzilla later on in the movie, his verbal language and the verbal cues do everything you need and more to understand what's going on and what's taking place. So in my opinion, these human characters that were telling us beat for beat what to think, what to feel, oh my god, what's going on, aren't really needed. Yes, you get some cheap laughs, but overall, they are a bog to the story, and they take up way too much of it. Like I say, the monster fights and monster moments when you have them work so well. Everything else when it comes to humans does not. And I wish this movie was like 70-30, 80-20 monster to humans, but it really is closer to like 60-40 in humans' favor. And it's such an annoying part of the story, and it just brought this movie out for me. And even still, like, we have the one kid character who is kind of on her own journey per se, and we even get the classic, it's like, oh, she's kind of a preteen now. We need to create a kid monkey so kids can relate. And the kid monkey has its moments per se, but man, did he have that annoying kid written syndrome that we get in so many movies and TV shows nowadays. Overall, though, I'm coming out of this saying, if you're going for the monster fights, when they happen, the brief moments they do happen, they definitely live up to it all the way through. I wish we had more of that throughout and less humans. If you're going for a good story to really know what's going on, this is not the movie for you. This is not a good movie in that aspect. It's actually probably one of the most poorly written movies of the year. It's Madam Web bad on a lot of levels, in my opinion. Acting wise, probably a little bit better than Madam Web. Don't get me wrong. There's no Dakota Johnson performance in this movie, but it's not doing anything special, and it's not even trying to do anything special besides the amazing visual effects and these monster battles. Overall, I can't give this thing anything above like a high silver in my ranking. And I just honestly am disappointed in a way. I think the main of this movie for a lot of people is going to be Godzilla minus one, which was able to tell a great human and monster story, an overall story in a monster movie, where this is doing none of that, and it's not even telling a good story for the monsters in a lot of ways. And if you're like only going for the monster fights, you might as well just go into the theaters once and just wait for this to get on like YouTube or somewhere, because honestly, there's not that long of monster fights. You maybe get about 20 minutes total of monster fights, and that might be an overestimation. But like I said, medium to high silver for me, Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire. Tell me if I'm wrong and down below in the comments. Like and subscribe if you're liking these type of reviews. And as a Godzilla fan, I got baited. I thought he'd be in this movie more. He was not, and that just makes me sad. But until next review or next video, I wish you all a great weekend, weekday, night, morning, wherever you're at, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.